Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Fishing with Andrew live show. I have a great show lined up for everyone tonight. Hopefully everyone has been doing well and had a great weekend so far. So let's get on with tonight's show. My special guest tonight is from the Ontario Fishing Club. He is one of the creators of the club. He is an avid bass fisherman and angler, and a great guy to know. So without any further introductions, I'd like to welcome Jeff onto the show. Hi Jeff,
There we
welcome to
are.
the show.
Awesome, Andrew. Thank you very much for inviting me onto the Fishing with Andrew show. I always try and tune in whenever you're on. So thanks again.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. How have you been?
Been good. I mean, obviously, with all these crazy stuff happening, things have changed a little bit, but it's bass season for me on this Saturday in my zone. So I'm excited. I'm holding baits. I'm talking fishing. The wife has had enough already, and it hasn't started. So I'm roaring to go.
Yeah, I'm waiting for bass season to open too. Mine opens up next weekend for me.
Awesome.
So for anyone who doesn't know Jeff, would you like to introduce yourself and let people know who you are?
Sure, Andrew. Honestly, anybody that does know me very well is I'm just any normal guy out there. I had a passion for fishing. It was when you asked me when I started OFC, I want to say it's like 2014. It's it's been quite a while. I mean, it's been quite the journey, but things just kind of snowballed. And the way it started, I fished with only a couple friends.
Mhm.
My fishing community was not very large. I really enjoyed fishing. And my friends would be like, "Oh, Jeff, send me pictures of when you're gone fishing. Send me pics." And just got so annoying sending like 6, 7 people, text message showing some fish. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to create a Facebook group, and I just post your pictures there, and we can all see them. Well, 10,500 plus people later, it's kind of turned into a community that myself and Moose are very proud of. We try to keep things as decent as they can. We all know there's some negativity out there that comes with the internet.
Mhm.
We do our best. The community is filled with great people, and I think
Yeah.
that's something that we need to focus on. Is there are good people, and there's people out there that are willing to help others, and
Mhm.
that's what the OFC is. It's called the Ontario Fishing Club. We consider it, it's the Ontario fishing community. We're no better than other fishing clubs out there. We just want to grow the sport, create awareness. We're just passionate about fishing.
Mhm.
That's what being an OFC member is about, being respectful to the environment and our resources and to other anglers. You know,
Yeah.
it's it's been a great ride and really excited to see where we can take this. We love doing it.
That's great. I'm proud to be a member of the club as well, and you guys have shown me a lot and a lot of knowledge you guys have taught me on the way.
Well, Andrew, to touch on that, like I said, when I first started, I didn't really have very much of a community around me. And if I can stress one thing to people out there, if you really want to get your fishing to another level, you need to fish with other people. You
Hmm.
have to expand your horizons and your circle and learn off of each other. I got some great help along the way with guys like Joe Ford, Scott Barry, all these guys that were willing to show me little bits and pieces, and then I use that and I expand on them, and then I show other people, and it's just you have to grasp that you can't do it alone. I mean, sure, there's some guys who are just completely gifted, but everyone has been shown things at some point.
Yeah.
Um, I travel with a company called Bass University. Didn't do much traveling with them this
Mhm.
winter, but I get to go and sit in with a lot of the Bassmaster Elite Series anglers. All the big guys. Ott Defoe, Mike Iaconelli, Jordan Lee, all these guys, and every single one of them. When they do their seminar, you think, oh, well, what do they have to learn? You think that they would just leave the seminar and that's it. They sit in. These
Mhm.
guys listen to each other. They're at the highest level that you can get to, and they're still learning. They're always learning. And with fishing, you're always learning. I don't care who you are. So
Mhm.
that's what's great about it.
It is, and it's a great sport to get involved in. I've been
Yes, it
learning a
is.
lot and just got my friends into fishing as well.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, it's such a thing that you can pass on to just anybody, whether it's a boy, a girl, whoever. I'm
yeah.
approached all the time by people that want me to take them out, want to show stuff, and I mean, you get people from all different shapes, sizes, and from anywhere, in the world. I've had people, whether they're new Canadians to the country, and they want to experience what Canada has to offer, and it can only get better by helping people and educate. Uh,
Mhm.
that's what we need to do, right?
Yeah. That's the one thing I've been learning is it's good to have friends who know what they're doing, and another thing is having a great time with them.
Also, but Andrew, you said like have friends that know what they're doing, but you
Mhm.
also need to be able to apply what you're learning. A lot
Yeah.
of times, in terms, okay, so bass season's coming up for me, like I said, on Saturday in my zone, and I always like to set myself with some goals. And I say, what do I want to get better at this year? What is
Mhm.
something that I feel I lack in? So a lot of the time, people, I think, they go out fishing, they go out to their regular spots, and we're all guilty of fishing our spots.
Mhm.
That's my spot. But you have to be able to think outside of that box and fish for the day. What would the fish be doing today? Not what they did 3 days ago or last weekend when you're up at the cottage or whatever. You
Mhm.
have to be able to take the moment and analyze it. Listen, is what I want to do what I should be doing? We all have those comfortable baits that we use. You know, I'm
Yeah.
a big frog guy. I love throwing a topwater frog. Everybody knows, like August, I call it Frogust.
Yep.
And but it's not always the time for it. So,
Mhm.
what am I doing by applying a technique that I deep down know that it's probably not what I could be doing effectively right now. So if people take the time and analyze the conditions that they're in,
Mhm.
where they are, the time of year, stuff like that, they can really become more effective with their fishing.
Yes.
Last year was a really tough year for me. I actually didn't get to fish all that much, especially on my lake. I did some Lake Erie fishing,
Mhm.
but a lot of people, the chatter around the club and everything was the fishing. We had a really late spawn, so things were really different. We just didn't feel like we had the weather. It was an odd year, and I struggled, and I got myself down. It's just like, I don't even want to go. I'm not doing very well. But then I had to sit there and think about what am I doing that's not what I should be doing. You know, I learned that okay, they're not biting this, they're not doing this, they're not there, and whatever. So, it's a process of elimination. I was like,
Mhm.
you know what? I think maybe I'm moving too fast. So I took some time and I said, okay, you know what? I got to research some really short, small. It seemed like they wanted a small bait, and so I got into throwing a mini tube. you know, and this was passed on to me from Joe Ford. Again, you know, very knowledgeable angler, and he's so willing to share with everybody. And no word of a lie, I went to a corner on my lake where I said, you know what, I've got current coming around here. This looks like a spot where they could be holding. And no word of a lie, within 10 minutes, I probably had easy 12 pounds of bass.
Oh,
3
wow.
fish, boom, and they were all in the same area. Like, and I
Ooh.
mean, I passed this place, I don't know how many times, but the difference was I broke it down and I said to myself, why do I want to fish there? So
Mm.
I put it together, I put the pieces of the puzzle together, and I turned a day that could have been, you know, not a great day into something because I listened to myself. So
Mm.
my biggest thing is for guys to like listen to themselves, believe in what you've learned,
Mm.
and apply it. Give yourself a chance. You know, I love guys that come in my boat. I look in the back and I see lures that I've never used before, or I'm like, hey, how are you rigging that? It's awesome to see what difference it makes when you have somebody else in the boat and you can see what they're doing, because when things aren't going the way you've planned, you say, you know what, this guy was in my boat one time and he did this, you know what, I'm going to give it a try, and it
Mm.
works. It really does. What
Yeah.
about yourself?
Uh,
What's your goals for this summer?
oh, this summer is, since I got no festivals to work at this year, so I'm planning on doing a lot more fishing. Already been on a couple fishing trips and going to be going out fishing again soon. But my one plan is to catch a pike this year.
There you go. So what are you doing to put yourself in the best scenario to catch a pike?
Researching the lakes I'll be going on,
Mm-hmm.
asking locals some spots they've tried, and try and find spots on myself and trying new locations there.
Yep.
It,
And the big thing is water time. Just get out there and give it a go, right?
mm,
So that's
you
good.
know, learning a lot more this year and want to try to get different species caught this year instead of just one species.
That's it. I seen you caught another muskie already for the beginning of the year.
Yes, that's my second one, and I'm enjoying it. And that was actually caught on a brand new rod as well.
There you go. Way to what's the word I'm looking for? Give it birth or whatever. Break it in right on a
That's
fish.
the way to break in a new fishing rod.
Yep, for sure. I
Yeah.
always seem to catch muskie. I don't typically target them, but if there's
Mm,
one in the lake, I'll find it.
yeah. That was like me. That one surprised me. We were out walleye fishing, and like the first time, I thought it was a walleye, and next thing got it up, and it was a muskie.
And there you go. You know, and a big thing with muskie too, right, is learning how to care for muskie. You
Yes.
know, I know in the group there, a lot of guys give some slack, you know, about proper handling a muskie.
Mm,
You know, I'll post on there a couple videos of the proper handling of muskie.
yeah.
Every fish deserves the same level of respect in
Mm,
my eyes. You know, I don't take a bass out of the water for 25 minutes and wave it around, take 100 pictures.
yeah.
I don't need to do that. It's all about care, fish care. You know, holding the muskie, you don't hold it up by the gills and hang it that
Mm.
long. You know,
And I
hold
learned
it
that.
lateral, support the fish.
Yeah. I learned that during the OFC fishing tournament last year from Rob Hepburn. So I
Exactly
have
right.
to thank him for teaching me the proper care of handling them.
And you know what, Andrew? All you're going to do is the next time you're in a boat and your friend hasn't caught one, which I believe you said that your friend caught his first muskie.
Yes.
You were there to tell him, listen, this is how you hold a muskie, right?
Yes.
So that's how it happens. You know, when we see somebody doing something that, you know, could be done a little better, then we educate them. We don't bash them. We've all been there before. I remember my first muskie, and I mean, I was happier than beep beep. But you know, we all make mistakes. So
Hmm. And that's why we call it learning. We learn during our mistakes.
for sure, like I said, we're always learning here. We're always
Hmm.
learning.
Yes, always. So one of the things I'm going to move on is any fishing stories you'd like to share.
Fishing stories. I I have been very blessed with my fishing. Um, Working with Bass University, and that's something. Yeah, I'm great friends with the owners and the producers of the Bass University, but I can't really express it enough how behind I am their product. Um, it is so informative, and if anybody wants to learn, like it's great in the wintertime if you can't travel, you know, you get on there and the videos are awesome. So it's very credible information. I mean, it's all by the Bassmaster Elite pros and everything like that.
Mhm.
Um, but so it's taken me to a lot of different places. I fished in Texas. I fished in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee. I've had the opportunities to fish quite a few places. Um, Most memorable, I've got probably three stories. One is being able to fish with somebody I met through fishing, and his name was David Cosner. He
Mhm.
was a young and I say a young kid. He was 25, I think, when I met him, and he had a terminal illness. He had Wagner's, and basically he was dying.
Mhm.
And I was flying to Mexico to go bass fishing, and they screwed up my flight. And he lived in Austin, Texas. And I said, "Hey, listen, we've been talking for a couple years. They screwed up my flight. Why don't I come down, spend a couple days, and go?" And me and him, we're on the opposite ends of the country here,
Mhm.
and it was because we were fishermen, we just connected. And that's what's so amazing about the fishing community. And I learned so much from this kid because Andrew, all this kid wanted to do was breathe. He struggled to breathe every single day. He had over 450 lung surgeries by the time he was 27 years old. He spent probably 85% of his time in a hospital. So when you think about your life being tough, he taught me to realize what was important, and I had absolutely nothing to gripe about because
Mhm.
this kid was living life the way it should be. So that's one of my fishing stories that I just going down, and I'm trying to remember the lake that we fished, but I ended up catching a double on a Zara spook, two fish at the same time. So that was great. Um, I got to fish in Mexico at Lake El Salto with the Bass University crew. That was fantastic, amazing fishing. Um, and then I fished with a friend of mine from Bass University. I got to fish a lake in Georgia that was a private pond from a famous country singer,
Oh, okay.
and it was the best bass day of my life. I think we had 40 some pounds for five fish or something. It was pretty crazy. I caught my personal best that day. What was it? 7.2, 7 pounds 2 ounces. Yeah.
Congratulations.
So I I know there's bigger ones out there, so I'm not stopping. I'm gonna keep going. I got a 614 on my lake 2 years ago, so I know they're out there. There's some big fish out there, and I'm not stopping.
That's like me. I'm not stopping either for my personal best.
Good
Right
stuff.
now, I'm sitting at 3 pounds from Rice Lake.
You got room there. There's some big fish in Rice Lake.
Yes, there are. And it's where I caught my first smallie was on Rice Lake in the fishing tournament.
There you go. Has a great abundance of fish in Rice Lake. It's a little tricky just to show up to, but if
Yeah.
you apply what you should be doing, you can catch fish there.
Mm-hmm. As long as you know what spots to go to and know where to fish for them, you'd be pretty good doing all right there.
For sure.
Now we have one question come in from Bill. He asks, how often do you get to fish with moose?
Oh boy. You know what? Me and Moose don't get to fish very much together, but last year on my birthday, he showed up at my cottage and was like, "Let's go." So we got to go out. Moose is one busy body.
Mhm.
Anyone that knows Moose, I mean, he's amazing. Moose can do it all. I mean, UFC wouldn't be nowhere near what it is without the help of Moose. The guy's just he's a genius. He's so personable. The guy's just we go to the fishing show, and I mean, he's just like the social butterfly. Everybody's, how you doing here, there. He's unbelievable. So we try. He fishes the tournament series, so a lot of weekends he's out and about. I don't fish the tournament series. I'm just a little bit more busy. I have a cottage that I like to enjoy, so
Mhm.
it kind of affects that part. I have a wife and family that I like to spend time with, so the weekends are something that I leave for that. So, but we love
Okay.
fishing together. Me and Moose are always up for good chatter and banter, and we like to razz each other a little bit. But that's what it's all about.
Yeah. One question is, how did you meet Moose?
How did I meet Moose? Well, it was actually an official OFC trip. We went to the French River, and let me think of the lodge. I believe it was, I'll give him a little plug here, French River Lodge. And so I met him through, there was another gentleman. I sold my boat to a guy named, one of my boats to Patrick Kane, his name was, great guy. And he kind of helped me, meet a couple along the way, help start to get some people in the OFC. And he knew Moose, and kind of, the invite went out there, and then we ended up with, I think there was maybe 12 or so of us. I can't remember how many of us there was, but that was in the fall time. And yeah, it was a great trip until I tore the bottom end off my motor.
Ooh, that's not
So that
good.
was no, that was a very expensive trip, but it happens. I guess it's a French River Lodge. It's not the first one.
Mhm.
So
Oh wow, interesting. Uh, so I noticed when we went out fishing during the tournament, you were trying to teach me the frog. One question is, how did you actually get onto doing top water being your favorite to do?
well, I think the biggest thing that attracts people to a topwater bite is when they miss a topwater bite, because it just makes you want that fish, so much more. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't think there's anything more exciting than still water out there. You're concentrating on your bait, and then all of a sudden the water just goes crazy around your bait. Your bait disappears. You forget everything in the world that's happening right now. And all you're thinking about is, oh God, am I going to set the hook properly or not?
Hmm.
So, to me, top water is one of my favorite ways. I love the excitement. It's just another element of fishing that, I mean, could somebody not enjoy a top water bite? I don't know.
Oh,
Is it
I'm
even
enjoying
possible?
it. I'm enjoying it
It's just
after
one
you
of
talk.
those. It's just one of those techniques that just it's fantastic. It's exciting. So give her.
Hmm. Yeah, I enjoy doing the top water frog now after you taught me how to use it and do it proper. How it
And
made
how's it? Have you had any hookups?
No, not yet. So the last time did frogging was at Rice Lake last year, and just had one blow up on the frog, and I didn't wait to set the hook.
That's the
My reaction too
biggest
fast.
issue. And Andrew, it happens to everybody.
Mhm.
People, that's the nature of frog fishing, because sometimes what happens is they do something called a short strike, where they don't even, you know, they just bite the back end of the frog, and that's why I see some guys will cut the back end of their frog legs. I'm trying to show this on something else here, but they'll trim them down, because some of them they have, like, a good 5 to 6 inch legs on them.
Yeah.
So they'll do that. Sometimes the frog or the bass will come up with a closed mouth and just smash your bait. Well, what are you gonna
Oh.
do? Yeah, because they're trying to stun it.
Yeah.
Bass are opportunists, so they'll try and stun it. I've had bass where I've seen it. They're looking through the water, just staring at the bait, and they're just wondering, do I bite this? Do I not? And
Mhm.
which makes it even more exciting. But when he turns back around and takes off, it's not so great. But the biggest thing about that, setting the hook is the patience.
Yeah.
Finding that technique when you're setting that hook. I myself, what works for me is I have my rod up high. I'm working my bait. I If I have a blow up, I bring my rod tip down and then I load up. That
Oh.
hesitation hopefully is enough time for that fish to take that bait in. Now, once you feel what you need to feel, like, it may take you a couple more, blow ups for it to happen, but something will just click. You know what? That's what I did right. That's what I did different, and that's why I hooked the fish. So
Okay.
it'll just happen.
Yeah.
It is a tough bite for sure. A lot of people don't fish a frog because of the hookup ratios. That it can be, but if you find that rhythm, it can be fantastic. It's very exciting, and they catch big fish.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to keep trying, and hopefully I'll get one soon. I'm hoping when bass season opens, first one lure I'm going to be throwing is the frog.
yeah, and remember, down and straight up. Bring it
I'm
up.
going to remember that.
Let that fish suck that bait in. You want to feel the weight there. I still do it. I still miss a fish.
Mhm.
I have a friend, Mike Burke, and I'm glad he doesn't have Facebook, because he'd yell at me for saying that his hookup ratio is probably like 50%. Well,
Oh,
it's not
wow.
very it's not very much, right? When you want to catch that fish, you want to get it up
Yeah.
there, right? But we always laugh at each other, because sometimes, like I said, it's nothing you're doing wrong. It's just the way the fish surfaces sometimes. So,
Mhm. Now, another question is, what's your favorite to fish? Smallmouth or largemouth?
oh, you know what? Um, because I fish so many, like, not say so many, but I love fishing Lake Erie.
Mhm.
Um, Getting out there and having like 70, 80 fish days of, like, nothing under 4 pounds. I There's nothing like fighting a smallmouth from 35 feet deep. A 5 pounder, 6 pounder. I mean, it's amazing the power that those fish have. Um, but I love catching largemouth too. I love flipping a jig into a end of a dock or into a weed patch, or dragging a craw. I, I I don't know if I could pick either one, if that's what you're asking for. I think the conditions are going to tell me what I want to. I mean, if I'm on Lake Erie, then I'm fishing for smallmouth. But if
Mhm.
I'm on my lake, I got a mix of things to do. But I like catching them both ways, so it really doesn't matter to me. I think they both fight very well, and they got me.
Yeah, I just started enjoying catching smallmouths more. I
They're
back
very strong, very strong.
Yes, and I caught one out of season by mistake this year. Got it off the hook. and back in the water. But knowing how strong just a little one is, they got me hooked now.
Yep, for sure. And Andrew, that's a topic, it always comes up. Oh, I can't I can't help but what bites my hook. We get that. I mean, but a lot of times, are you fishing in an area where you shouldn't be?
Mm-hmm.
No. And taking a picture technically is not allowed. By the ministry laws and regulations, get that fish back in there as fast as possible. We all know what gobies or sunfish and all that can do to a bass eggs. So yeah, if you catch one by accident, it happens. Get
Mm-hmm.
it back in there as fast as possible, and least the harm as possible. So
Yeah, and that's what I did is got her back in as fast as possible and moved to a different location.
yeah, well, sometimes Andrew, you could have a smallmouth or whatever, and it's next a crappie or something like that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not to say it can't happen, right? Some of these fish are sharing habitats at different
Yeah.
times. So, at the same time as well. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, because I've caught only two out of season this year. Got them both back, and decided to change up lures and change locations. And after doing that, everything started to go for the fish I wanted to target. So
there
this
you
year,
go. You made the adjustments, right?
yes, after knowing where not to go and knowing what spots I can try out when bass season opens.
You got it.
Now, another question is, are you sponsored by any pro companies?
Am I sponsored? Okay. So this is a touchy subject for a lot of people because I think um, when people say pro staff, all these things, am I a professional angler? No.
Mhm.
No, I'm not. Nor will I ever to pretend to be one. Do I represent some companies and help market and bring stuff to the industry? Sure, I do.
Mhm.
I'm a representative with Shimano. I love using their rods and reels. I use Power Pro line. I'm close with X Zone, so I use a lot of their baits. I'm a big believer, and that's what makes it easy to be associated with a company like Rod Glove and X Zone is I use their stuff.
Mhm.
I'm a firm believer in doing stuff like that. Um, I'm not doing this for a living, so I really don't have anything to hide. Uh, I try and pass the buck around. We got a lot of little Canadian tackle guys.
Mhm.
They're paying bills with stuff. I always try and buy stuff off them and do things like that. But sure, I do represent some companies, but I don't like to call it like pro staff.
Mhm.
Um, I just help market.
Yeah,
I
so
help
just a
with
representative.
OAC. Exactly. I'm not into pretending that I'm some professional fisherman. I maybe fish two or so tournaments a year just out of fun, or a couple of times friends have had people back out, so I join in and help out. But I'm just your regular Joe. I love fishing, and that's what I want to do.
Okay. Yeah, because I had all my friends asking, Andrew, since you know Jeff a little bit, is he sponsored? I'm like, no, he just represents companies that he believes in.
That's it's pretty much what it is, Andrew. And I mean, a company is going to respect. It's the way you carry yourself out there. Other guys, oh, I just want to be sponsored. It's not about the free gear, especially for me. I don't need anything. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm fine on my own. I don't need handouts from anybody. So it's not about that for me.
Yeah.
Um, I just like, I'm just so into fishing that
Mm-hmm.
I want to be out there. And that was my whole source of like the OFC is it's brought a lot of opportunities for me to put my passion in the forefront. Forget about all that other stuff going on in my life. It's all good. So we just, I think people's perception of, oh, look at all the, there was a gentleman, well, it was his son actually who put onto OFC group. He was looking for a professional jersey. And I think
Yeah.
you actually commented on it. I
Yes.
knew what he wanted. He just, you know, you feel a part of something if you're
Mm-hmm.
displaying it and you're like, you know what? I want to show everybody my passion for fishing.
Yeah.
Like you have on your jersey, stuff like that. What's wrong with that? Why can't, you know,
Yeah.
these
And
companies you believe in or you like their products or this or that? Why
yeah.
not? There's no one to impress. You don't have to worry about impressing anybody. If somebody's got something to say, that's their problem. But just be yourself. And you know what? If you want to attract companies like that, carry yourself in a positive manner. You know, show yourself on social media that you can be, a positive influence, and stuff will come for you. But
Mhm.
you know,
And that's what I learned all last year, and it's going great for me. I met
yeah.
new people along the way and getting positive advice from everyone. And
And
when
that's what you want to surround yourself with.
yeah, and when I seen that guy make that post asking where he could get a professional fishing jersey made, I knew one guy who could help him make that, and that's Marcel from MC Pro Nation.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
I mean, the kid just wants to have a jersey with some logos on it, and I mean,
mhm,
some people get bent out of shape, but when you think about it, and when you know the facts about our fishing industry in Canada, we have very few professional fishermen.
mhm,
In my terminology, what I consider a professional fisherman is somebody that earns a living doing it.
yeah,
So, how many do we actually have in Canada? I won't even entertain to even break that down because I couldn't even tell you, but I know that it's not very high.
yeah, it's not really high.
We
Cause,
are we are this big in the fishing world. As much as people want to think that, oh, there's so much fishing in Canada or whatever, we are a drop in the fishing industry that's out there. If anyone has ever been or has a chance, I mean, see, traveling is so messed up now, but usually we go down every year to the Bassmaster Classic, and you go down there to one of their shows and you compare it to one of our shows, it could fit in like a corner of one of their buildings. You know, we
cool.
do what we can here because that's what the industry supports,
Mhm,
right? Andy Pilata does a great job. We have the spring fishing show, and Kyle Carruthers has the show. Um, I mean, we do what we can. The industry just isn't what everybody thinks it is, right? It's not this like multi billion-dollar industry that it is like in the U.S. But
mhm,
we're passionate about it here. So,
yeah, and that's what I learned is Canada's more passionate about their fishing than the States is.
well, because we have a great fishery. I don't know,
Mhm,
I have had a chance to fish a lot in the US, and sometimes they'll have a tournament and the winning weight is like 12 pounds. You know,
mhm,
there there's just so much pressure. We
yeah,
went down and fished Lake Gunnersville in Alabama, and I don't think people realize how big these lakes are. These reservoirs. A lot of them are reservoirs. We met a local and we were talking to him, and he said that every single Saturday in the summer there is at least two tournaments on Lake Gunnersville at a time with 300 boats in each one.
damn.
So That's 600 boats. Okay.
Yeah.
No word of lie, Andrew. We may be seeing 1 or 2 boats the whole weekend. So that's how big these areas are. We have a
Wow.
great fishery. We respect it, and we have to keep these laws in place and regulations. I know some guys want to fish bass all year, or whatever. In my eyes, whatever we've been doing
We're
seems to
doing
be
it right.
working, because in other places it isn't that great. Sure, there's some science behind some of it. I don't know myself if I trust risking it.
Hmm.
In a sense, is how I want to put it. All of my American friends, all they want to do is come up to Canada and fish.
Mm.
So that has to say something.
Yeah. And I noticed that too on a couple of YouTube channels. Americans want to come fish Canada a lot more. I don't know if you watched the Guggen Squad, but Alex and John B came up to Canada to fish Lake Ontario. And it
Mm-hmm.
was a great video what those two guys put out and showing how much Canadians love our fishing.
For sure. There's some lakes. I have a friend from California. You can't even, let's just say it's Monday. If Mondays isn't for recreational fishing, you're not allowed to be on the lake. There are
Ooh.
certain days, certain times where certain recreational sports can happen because of the density and population of people trying to get on these lakes. So just imagine how horrible that would be. I never
Yeah.
want to go through anything like that. So I love what we have here in Canada. My view is to protect it and respect it.
Hmm. I'm going to move on to our next question is how did you and Scotty Martin become friends and start the OFC Nation?
Oh, Scotty. Scotty's like Moose. Two, they're gems. I mean, they have the gift. They have a gifted personalities. These two guys. I don't take myself as someone that likes to be in the forefront. I'm really not that guy. Um, you know, it's very surreal for me when I'm somewhere and I see an OFC sticker on somebody's truck. I'm just like, oh my god, like I can't believe this. I've had people like stop me at Bass Pro or whatever, and I'm just like, man, like that's not what I'm about. I tend to
Mhm.
try and like let the forefront of things be for Moose and Scotty, because their personalities are so vibrant and they're both so passionate about fishing. Scotty is like, um, I met Scotty through OFC. He him with the CFN and Red, and
Mhm.
we 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 basically just realized that we both have the same passion, and it's fishing. Yet we're two entities. We found that we're doing the same types of things, and we felt that we could probably be more effective if we put our marketing together.
Mhm.
Hence what came out with OFC Nation, right? And we say marketing like we sell our gear, this and that. It's to help pay the bills.
Mhm.
Like no one's walking away with a Lamborghini here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? A lot of money came out of our personal pockets.
Mhm.
Do I regret it? Not at all. I love doing it. Sometimes we were just buying stuff and giving it away. I mean,
Yeah.
what accountant wants to see you do anything like that? But it didn't matter. We bought stuff, we gave it away for a loss. People buy a hat. Hey, here, I know you bought two last year. Here's one for you. It's about the community and keeping it strong, and it can only be as what it is with guys like Scotty and Moose. I love the two of them to death. They're the best.
Okay. Yeah, because I noticed how well you guys got along at the tournament that you took me up to. I had a
Yep.
blast, and I've seen how well you and Scotty and all the other guys got along really great.
Yeah, like we've known each other for a couple years now, but relationships grow, right? Out of respect and everything like that. That we're passionate about the same thing, so we have a lot of stuff in common. I don't know how many times I can go somewhere, maybe other people can relate to this too. They're just like, did someone just say something about fishing? And they just look around. They're like, oh, I want that guy to be my new best friend. And they
Yeah,
go over, and now you got something in common with this person. Meanwhile, 10 minutes before, you could have been giving them the bird on the 401 or something. But soon as fishing comes about, it's your best friend.
yeah, and I've noticed that couple of the stops going on my trips we made. All we did is just mention fishing, and I made a new friend right there.
Yep.
So it's
Doesn't
great.
take much.
No, it doesn't. All you have to say is this fishing, and someone hears it, and you're best friends with them.
Yep.
So another thing is, one question was, how did you get the OFC charity fishing tournament started?
Oh, okay. Um, so basically, I had an employer. His nephew was killed in a construction accident. He was 13 years old, and he was riding his bike past the construction site and was unfortunately run over.
Mm.
Um, his name was Dylan LeBlanc, hence the name of the tournament was the Dylan LeBlanc Memorial Tournament. So I mean, I had worked with this gentleman for over 20 some years, and I was very close with the family, obviously, for all this time. And I said, you know what? The funds for they started a charity in his name. It goes towards kids that can't afford to play sports and such. So I said, you know what? Why don't I do a fishing tournament every year, and that way we could top up the money, and so that more kids can enjoy the funds. And that's where it snowballed from. I think our first tournament, I think it was up in the French River, and I want to say there was maybe 12 or 13 of us. And I think last year, I believe we were in the high 70s.
Yeah, there was
So we had a
six.
yeah, we had a great turnout, and it's always a great group of people. It's a fun day, a low pressure, and it's a great opportunity. Like yourself, be able to get out in a boat, in a bass boat, and
Mm,
learn from somebody that may fish tournaments, or for sure most likely has some knowledge that they can pass on, right?
mm,
And everybody, it's once somebody comes out to the tournament, they love to keep coming back.
yes,
So
and I had a blast when I went fishing on your
it's
boat
a
in the
great
morning.
time.
Yes, it was fishing on your boat in the morning, then in the afternoon fishing on Tyler Brooks' boat, and
Yep.
catching fish is what it was what for. Is I had a great time, and
Awesome.
meeting,
That's what it's all about.
yeah, and meeting all the other anglers who came out and made new friends while doing it.
Exactly. That's what it's about. So charity gets helped along the way. Get some good food, some good time. I mean, we rented out all the cabins at Wildwood Cottage Resort there,
Hmm.
and it's just a good atmosphere for everybody to hang out, talk about fishing, have some good laughs. I'm really sad that we're not going to be able to do it this year for obvious reasons.
Hmm.
Hopefully, things will get better. I know they will, and maybe next year will be our year to be able to get back into it.
Yeah, hopefully. As I'm telling you, it was a great time I had, and before this whole thing came in effect, I was looking forward for this year's tournament to happen, and I seen your post, and I'm like, well, there's always next year.
Yeah. Well, it's bittersweet for me because it's a lot of work.
Hmm.
handle probably 85% of that tournament. I have some great helpers, Ava, Susan, and there's just other girls there that help me out the day of, like so amazing.
Mhm.
You know, Moose and other guys help, even just other fishermen helping track down some prizes. I always like for everybody to walk away with something from that
Yeah,
day. So it's just yeah, I'm kind of running it in the sense of, I'm taking the money and I'm organizing all that stuff or whatever, but it's a collaboration of people that come together for that day, and they just make it great. Just a great day.
yeah. Well, I'm looking at the time, and time is almost running out. So I'm
All
going to
right.
thank you, Jeff, for coming on the show. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Andrew, for having me.
And we're going to have to get out and do some fishing together this time again.
Maybe you can show me around Rice Lake, because you probably got more time on Rice Lake than I do.
Actually, I haven't been up there yet this year.
Uh-oh.
So, but I do have news. I might be going up there in a couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to it. So I'm hoping I do
All
make it up.
righty.
But thank
All
you
right,
for
man. Well, sounds good.
it does.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you for doing what you do. I don't think people really understand what it takes for you to do your show and what it means for you to do your show. You have a passion for fishing. It's brought something out in you that you enjoy doing, and power to you. And don't let anybody knock you down. We always just pick each other up and keep doing what you're doing because we love it.
Thank you. And thank you for the support.
All right,
Right.
guys. Take care and good luck. And please leave some bass for me if you're out on my lake. And I'm not mentioning my lake or someone's going to follow me. But anyway, some people already know my lake. But good luck out there. Stay safe, everybody. And social, yeah, whatever.
Thank you, Jeff.
See you later.
See ya. Thank you guys for tuning in. I don't think I'll be having another show in 2 weeks. I just got to get all my summer plans sorted out right now. But thank you to everyone for tuning in. I'll let you guys know when the next show will be coming on. But thank you.